All right, this is our 2013 Roadtrek Nav6 Active. I'm going to do a quick walk around here so you can kind of see the shape of the vehicle. And then I'll go through some of the functionality and inside and outside so you can get an idea for kind of how it works. I guess since I'm already out here, I'll go ahead and do the remote start. So we have kind of the key for the glove box, key for the ignition, and then the Viper alarm system and remote start. Okay, gonna start on the passenger side. Open up the doors. You can see you have nice deep pockets for storage on the door. And of course the glove box and the books and paperwork, the maintenance records, the warranty for the tires, and any work that we've had done on it since we've owned it. And we have seats. This is a cooler, which is really nice because the cooler can freeze. So there's a freezer in this section and then a cooler on the inside of this section. Right. Okay. And then we'll get into the dash and the controls here in the kind of next clip of this video. Okay, now climbing in on the driver's side, again, same thing. Nice deep storage on the doors. And, you have running boards on both sides that run all the way to the back. And then the driver's seat is all power. Okay. And then I'll go through some of the gauges. So we have, of course, your headlights, power mirrors, and then traction control. Should be able to see the miles there, 122,569. And have the door open, so that's why the red lights are on, because right now it's just remote started. Okay. And then, of course, cruise control, if that's something you're interested in. And then we'll talk about the app radio. So, okay, so I put the key in the ignition so that we can, and turn the car on so that we can actually see this guy connect and show you the backup camera as well. It usually takes about 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds for the stereo to auto connect to your phone, but once it does, you hit either Android Auto or phone or Apple CarPlay, and it will start the process of bringing up the apps that you can use. So there you go. There's the Google Map again. There's a Pandora for me, my music. And then I will put it in reverse here. You'll see it switches to the backup camera. Right. And so you have backup camera with position sensors, and that makes it really nice when you're trying to back into a campsite at night. Go to back and drive, it goes right back. Then we have the controls down here. Of course, this is all the temperature control for the front of the cab. And then down here at the bottom, these are the controls for the back, for the rear of the cab. So you've got, then it's all analog. You know, you push the button for heat, AC, or off. So I'll turn the AC on. Right now I have it on high, but of course you can control how you want. And then there's the sensors off if you ever want that. And then there's a place to connect, you know, any media device, audio, if you want to directly plug in so that you can play directly from your phone. But if you have Bluetooth, that works as well. Put that back in. There we go. And of course, a couple cup holders here. The cords you see down here on the floor, those are from the cooler. And that's about it for the front. Next video will be opening the side entrance that takes you into the back. Okay, now we're at the side entrance. I'm going to open up this big sliding door. Okay, and here, let me back up a little bit. There's the two captain's chairs in the middle, and these seats also swivel and slide forward and slide back. I'll kind of show that in a minute. So here's the first one, and then the second captain's chair is here. And then right now I have it laid out in the bench, in the full bench, but I will stop the video and put it back into a seat configuration so I can climb back there and kind of show you all the spaces. Okay, so it took me maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes maybe. Now you can see I've converted the bed area back into a bench, and now you can see the other items inside. So there's a microwave down here at the bottom. You can see the air vent underneath it that services the back of the cab, including the air vent here right next to the seat. There's a drawer there for like utensils. Then there's a very, very small sink here in the back as well. And then there's a secure, that little key that I had earlier opens also this bottom drawer, which is also good for storing stuff. And then underneath, there are two very long, deep drawers. Right? One there, and then another one here. This is a nice place to store things you want to take out with you. And then the hole here is for the table. And so I'll put the table, you can see I pulled it down from the top so I can install it. So I'm going to put that metal pole and the tabletop on here. And then swivel the seats around so you can see the seats when they're swiveled. Okay, so now I've installed the table, turned the seats around, so you can kind of see when you're kind of in a stopping place, you kind of can face everything out and kind of have everybody surrounded by the table. The table can be installed here in the back, but it can also be installed here in the front, and you can swivel the driver and passenger seat around and have them all face in, so you have 4 captain's chairs facing each other. Now to move the seat, I'm going to try to do this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So, the seat has 2 handles, and I'll show this here. So you can see, you just swivel the seat. I'm just moving it around with my hand until you hear it lock in. Okay, there are 2 handles to move the seat. There's one underneath here on the side, and that allows you to release it so it can swivel. And then there's one underneath in the front right here, and that one allows you to move the seat forward and back. Okay, so I grab the handle down here, pull it back, and now I can release the seat so it can spin. Okay. Okay, next, I'm gonna go into the back. So these doors are pretty cool. You can open the door halfway, or you can press this latch right here, and now you can open this door all the way back. It has a magnetic catch that's down there, and that magnetic catch will touch this magnetic catch. And now you have the door open all the way. I'll do the same for the other side. Right. So now we have the back row. So there's the third part of the bed right there. What else do we have back here? There's of course, there's a jack. Spare tire is mounted underneath. The inverter for the van is here. So it's just underneath this panel. There's the inverter. There's the power distribution system. The only problem I've ever had back here is every once in a while, if you were driving on a bumpy road, if you don't have power inside, you just come in and push these two plugs in, and almost every time that's the problem. And then the circuit breaker panel for that is here. And like I said before, this does not open. It opens from this handle, and this is where you would put your water, the water jug, your 5-gallon water jug, and there's the water pump and the system for the water right there. You can see I have jumper cables in here because I feel like you should always have jumper cables, because batteries die. And then there's another compartment under here. This compartment, it gives you access to the Freon for the cooling system. I've only messed with it maybe once to have it recharged, and that was probably 2 years ago. I haven't had to go inside there since. Okay. And so there you go. There's the view from the back, and then now I'll get it plugged up so you can see kind of the roof going up and down and the sleep space up top. Okay, so now let's talk about the microwave. So you can see, since I'm plugged up, that the microwave is on. And I don't know, I'll pick popcorn or something. It works just fine. And I also wanted to show the outlets. So on this panel that runs along the ceiling, you can see you have your LED lights. Then you have the 12 volt connection for cables, and then 110 outlet. And then you see there's another 110 outlet here, another connection there for 12 volt DC. And on the other side, same thing. Outlet, 12 volt DC, lights, the inverter panel, more lights, and then lights also in the back and up here on the roof. And then each of these panels that you see here. So when we're not going to camp, we take that mattress out of the top, and then we take all these panels out. All these panels can move and be removed, and it gives you more headroom up to the top. And then I guess now I'll talk about the connection between the inverter panel and this power panel that's here, that's kind of scratched up. So the inverter panel, when you're plugged in, will, like I said, it'll shows you the status of the inverter. And then this panel here only has one switch that you have to interact with, and it's this switch. Oh, let me get this better. It's this switch right here, which controls this red LED. So flip it off, and the lights controlled by the inverter won't work, right? And if you flip it on, then that light now works, right? So the inverter is connected to all of the LED lights in the cab, and the cooler, right? And all of these rear 12-volt connections and the 110 outlets. But it is not connected to the microwave, so the microwave will run either way. I'm going to flip that switch so you can hear it. You can see the microwave's still on. Flip the switch again, still on. Then if you want hot water, you can see there's a light switch on the wall right next to the sink, and that light switch, if you flip it down, allows the microwave to work, and if you flip it up, turns off the microwave and allows the hot water heater to work. Okay, so from here we go in and just turn ourselves around. We'll see the switch that controls the top of the camper. It's right here, and that is going to raise this roof up for us. And so I'll stand outside so you can see it going up. So again, you just push this button, and that starts raising the camper. And once it's fully up, I'll back up a little bit so you can see. It's very difficult to see from here. So the camper will just continue to raise itself until it's fully open. Okay, now the camper's open. I gotta back up a little bit so you can see. You see there's a tape on the screen right there, and that's from the the cylinder that's on the inside, the new kind of motorized cylinder that raises the camper up and down, rubs here. So I'll show you. You can see that bar right there, that's what's going up and down, and you can see that it starts to rub and wear on the fabric over time. Same there. And I'll go into the upper space. So the metal bar for the table stores between these two brackets, and then the table itself just sits up here, right? There's a front plastic opening window, and then of course two side ones, and they just zip open and close. So let me find the zipper for this guy. And then that gives you a plastic window. The same thing on the sides. A little difficult doing this with just one hand. But there you go. Then if we just turn around, you can see the bed area. And so we have this kind of like land and trail mattress up here because it's really comfortable, right? And you can see that you have LED lights in the back as well as in the front. And these only work when you're plugged up, so you just touch the lights and touch them back off. And that's the interior. And then next I will lower the camper, lower the top so that you can kind of see how it seats. All right, so now same thing. Gonna lower the top of the camper. Same switch that I pressed on the inside earlier. Just bring it down and it'll come down. As you're bringing it down, you see how it's starting to crunch over the screens. So right about here, you have to stop and push the screening in on both sides so it doesn't stick out, right? Just make sure that's tucked in really good. And close it the rest of the way. And there you go. Camper's back down. Okay, so next we have the microwave. The microwave has a tray, has a plate that goes on the inside there. As you can see, you kind of have to have this other seat spun around so that you can access it. So I'm going to move this seat around and lock it back in. And then I'm going to go back down here and open my microwave. Okay. There is a rotator, a tray. I store it just above in the first compartment. So we have this compartment here. I store it in there because it tends to rattle around if you leave it inside the microwave, but it doesn't rattle so much in here. This is actually the sink, so it drains right out of the bottom of the truck. Then we have another storage compartment. We usually put sweaters and shirts in there. This one is just storage. Looks like I need to clean that out a little bit. And then we have this larger storage compartment with tire chains and emergency equipment. And this one is actually a cooler. So it doesn't make things cold like ice, but it does keep things a kind of room temperature. And then underneath that last one is bolted down, but the water tank, the 5-gallon water can goes in there, and I'll show that when I go into the back. There's one window that opens a bit, and that's the one right behind the driver's seat. You can see the latches, right? And so you just pull the latches to open and close those guys. All of these other windows do not open. Only the side window here, and then of course the front windows, you know, the driver and passenger. So I realized in the previous video I stopped short of sharing the other way to power the van, and thought maybe I'd put the water tank in place so you could see it. So so here we go. All right, so I didn't talk about this flap here. This flap goes up and down. It can sit like this, right? Or it can be left up to sit like that. If you're trying to get into the water tank or into the inverter, you kind of need it in the up position. All right, so water tank, I went ahead and put it in the right way. So now you can see, you put your 5 gallons of water here, and then you flip the switch back here, and that turns on the pumping system to pump water over to the sink that's in the front. Let's see, and now we'll go into, let me put that back up, close this door. It closes, has a magnetic strip to keep it closed. And next we'll go into raising the camper and then looking up top, and then I'll show you where we store the table that we were looking at earlier. Okay, so there are 2 ways to plug the vehicle up. You can use both cables are come with the van. So of course I have this standard 110 plug. I'm just going to plug it into a socket over here. Okay, standard 110 outlet will work. And then you take this Canon plug, lift up this cap, line it up, and tighten it down. Okay, and the moment you do that, you will see this panel for the inverter will start blinking green on the right. If it's blinking green on the right, then you have power to all the inside, or you have power being distributed to the inside of the van. The power indicator on the left is telling you how strong your vehicle battery is, because you have the ability to switch between the inverter and the vehicle battery in an emergency. Okay. Yeah, I figured since I'm already in here, I'll just store the table so you can see it stored instead of just talking to it. So there's where the bar sits, and that's where the table sits. And then now I will go lower the top of the camper. Okay, so now back to the power. Again, I have it plugged up to a 110 outlet right now. But you know, when you go to campsites, they're 50 or 60 amp hookups. And so all of those are here. There's the cable and plug, same Canon plug that I plugged up down here. So you can either use 110 or you can use the big, you know, 3-phase plugs that you see at campsites. Either one gains power to the cab, to the inverter, I'm sorry. And then maybe the last thing is in this little door, there is okay, Roadtrek is going to say it's a shower, but there's about enough pressure in here to maybe rinse off your shoes if they're muddy, right? And there's the hose. It has a quick disconnect fitting, which is really convenient. So you just connect. And now you can use your water pump. It's behind this door. And you can either dispense water out, clean your shoes, or dispense over to the sink on the other side.